that's that. Today I sat down and I wrote out my birth plan. And it's long, it's like 3 pages, and I think that's kind of ridiculous. I think birth plan should only be like 1. But I don't really have anything I want to cut out either. And I've had a few things that I had totally forgot that people had added. So about a week ago I spoke to the IM and I said it might be a good idea if she provides me sort of like with half of a birth plan as far as what she wants done with the baby. We're obviously all planning and hoping for them to be there, but if for some reason they can't come or if they're late, you know, the hospital will have questions and I want to give them the answers that the parents want. I know with Cody and with the twins, like before I even had the babies, the boys in particular, they wanted me to sign a thing, either yes or no, if the baby was to be circumcised. And so the parents were there with me, so they were able to be asked, and then with Cody, obviously I knew what I was choosing. And I don't know what their plan for this baby is. And so, yeah, I thought that that would be something that I might need to know, and and then, like, I sent an email to the IM this morning with a copy of my part, and then just some things for her to think about. We want me to, I'm not going to be breastfeeding the baby, but they do want me to provide breast milk. So I put in my plan that I'd like to pump, and then in her side, I want her to put that it's okay, that they're okay with that, you know, the plan was for me to provide milk. So if for some reason they're not there and I go down there with a little pumped bottle of colostrum, they're not like, what are you doing? So just things like that I told her to think about. So I wrote a birth plan with Cody. Didn't give it to the hospital, didn't take it. It just didn't happen. And my birth plan was so vague anyways. I didn't know what I wanted. I didn't have experience, and so it didn't really matter to me, I guess, enough. With the twins, Cody. With the twins, I was going in for a C-section. I knew I was going to have a C-section. There was like a 1% chance that the baby could have flipped and I would have been induced that day, but I was pretty sure it was a C-section. And I think at one point I had wrote a birth plan when I was planning on a vaginal birth, and then it changed, so I didn't bring it, and I didn't think I could really have a birth plan for a C-section because I didn't think there was a lot of options. So this time, you guys know, if you've been following me at all, I'm going for a VBAC, which is a vaginal birth after cesarean. If you hear random weird noises, my son is playing with the blankets on my bed, and so that's the moaning and sighing you hear. Anyways, I'm planning for the VBAC, and I've done more research. I know more of what I want. I've talked to a lot of people. I have been in VBAC support groups since before I even got pregnant. Basically, I knew I was going to get pregnant again at some point, and I had the C-section, and I joined, and I think I was in one of them for like 4 or 5 months before I was even pregnant. So they are not for everybody. Definitely, they're kind of crazy sometimes, like most Facebook groups, I guess, but I have read a lot of things that were helpful that I wouldn't have considered before, and things that got me thinking and got me researching. Now I feel like I have a better idea of what I want and what I don't want, because I can look at Cody's birth and say, you know, I think this maybe lengthened it, I think this was okay, I think this was bad. And so, judging from that, and even a little bits from the twins C-section, I know things. This birth, I'm planning a natural birth, hopefully. Knock on wood, touch wood, not touch wood, I don't know, but cross my fingers. I'm hoping for a natural birth. I'm hoping to not be medically induced. I'm hoping for everything just to work out perfectly, of course. But yeah, so let's get started. It says, Michelle, VBAC birth plan, estimated due date 5/28/15. This is the list of my wishes, optimal outcomes of this delivery, as well as contingency plans. Please consult this prior to suggesting something. This pregnancy is a surrogate pregnancy. For wishes concerning the baby, please consult the parents or the included list of wishes for the baby. If the health of the baby is not in jeopardy, all labor-related questions should be directed to me. And my IPs I think are great, and I don't think they would step on toes or anything, but just recently I had one of a friend, she lives in the same state that I do, another surrogate, transferred a couple weeks before me. She just delivered and a couple weeks ago, and the doctor, Cody, the doctor was like consulting the parents about things, and so they like walked in and they were like, oh, okay, the parents have, you know, said that we can start like Pitocin on you, and she was like, you know, because that wasn't what she had wanted. And so anyways, I just wanted them to know that I obviously, my goal is it's a safe delivery for me and the baby, and the baby, if there's something that conflicts with my birth plan but is better for the baby, I'm obviously going to do that. But if everything's fine, it is my birth, my delivery, and I would like myself to be asked, you know, do you want to start Pitocin? Do you want to do this? Rather than, do you want her to do this? You know, like, I'm in the room, so ask me. And then I put important people. I said surrogate, myself, and then I named myself, intended parents, named them. Birth support, I named my mom. I wrote who was welcome in the labor stage. So for delivery, I only want like the necessary staff, my mom, and the parents to be allowed in there. But I'm really okay with people visiting me during labor. It's not a big deal to me. I don't need a private closed setting. And everyone that would visit me knows me well enough to not be offended if I tell them to get out or something. So I said that I'd like my husband, my stepfather, and my son, Cody, to be allowed in during the stages of labor. I feel like, for me personally, I think it'll help me get my mind off of things if I see, like, Cody, and if, you know, he's coming in, because, and that sort of thing. My husband doesn't mind coming in during that point. He just doesn't want to see needles sticking out of me or blood or anything like that, so... And then I named my obstetrician, and I said in parentheses, if he is unavailable, please only provide me with a doctor who supports VBACs. So my doctor attends, like, I think he said like 98% of his births, which is awesome. And if not, it's usually someone from the same practice as him. And they are all pretty much pro VBAC. But there's always the, you know, the very slim chance that someone's not there or whatever, and I don't want to be given someone that doesn't support VBAC and just comes in and is like, no, I don't do that, you're gonna have a C-section. Like, no. So, alright, and then I went over, and I might rearrange these later, but this is how I wrote it out. So for labor, I said I would like to be able to walk to help move labor along. I would like to be able to change positions at will throughout labor. And then I said, please recommend alternative positions to me. Please provide me with a birth ball, squatting bar, etc. So I've done a good amount of research, but I don't have a doula. And my mom is a great support person, but she probably doesn't know all of... I'm going to try to like fill her in, but she probably doesn't know all of the options, you know, squatting bars. I didn't even know that was a thing until a couple months ago. That sort of thing. And so... I have heard this hospital is pretty natural friendly, and the nurses are really good with offering things, but I wanted it in there just in case. So if things aren't moving along and they think gravity will help, and maybe I'm not in the right frame of mind at the moment to be thinking of all these options, I would like them to give them to me, you know, like say, hey, do you want to try this? Do you want to try that? And then, you know, if I tell them no, then that's my own fault, right? I would like to be able to labor. So I was really concerned because my doctor does want pretty much continuous fetal monitoring, which I understand that. I don't love it, but I understand that. And I was concerned I wasn't going to use the labor pool that they have there. I was so excited about. Ideally, I would love to birth in water, but they don't allow that, but they do allow the labor pool. And I was really concerned, but he told me that he would still allow that. I would just have to agree to be like monitored via like Doppler and everything fairly often, so they can kind of keep track of that. And I said I realized I would needed to be monitored regularly for this. I would like to be given ice chips as a form of hydration rather than IV. I do not want a routine IV. I'm okay with a hep lock. Please discuss this with me before choosing to administer one. So I know a lot of people, or a lot of hospitals, will just kind of routinely give you an IV with fluids, or they will put it in that way if you need medicine. I don't want to be attached. I'm already going to be pretty stationary as it is, more so than I wanted because of the monitoring, and I don't want to also be constricted to the IV pole and everything. I'm okay with a hep lock, that's fine. So monitoring, I understand I will need continuous fetal monitoring when not in bed. I agree to be regularly monitored if I am laboring in the tub, shower, or walking. Labor augmentation and induction. I prefer induction methods over a repeat C-section. So please speak to me before deciding to use one of these methods. I would like to try natural methods before being given Pitocin or similar, walking, nipple stimulation via pumping, etc. So if they are wanting to move things along faster for whatever reason, I want to try pumping and I want to try walking and everything, because I feel like that's less intense than Pitocin contractions. So I'd prefer my water to break on its own and in its own time. And then I said, if an artificial rupture of membranes, AROM, is the next recommended step, please talk to me about it. That's one thing that I'm pretty stuck on. A lot of this for me I can work with, but that is one thing that I really am feel strongly about. I don't want to be put on a time frame. So most places, once your water breaks, they give you 24 hours. I had my water broken with Cody, and I think I was on because it was like a total of 22 hours from induction until I had him, and I think I was on hour 19 or 20 of having my water broke, because they tried to induce me, waited a few hours, and then broke my water like 2 or 3 hours later. So I was on a time frame. And obviously I was able to have Cody vaginally, but they had already sort of told me, like, well, your water's been broken for a while, so you need to have this baby by X o'clock, or you won't be able to continue, like, you'll have to have a C-section because of the risk of infection and all that. So I don't want to be on a time frame right away. I don't want them to be like, oh, let's get this moving, and pop my water, and then it's slow like Cody, and maybe it needs, so I prefer it just pop on its own. And I want to be spoken to and understand why they want me to do an AROM if that's the next step. Anesthesia, pain medication, second page. My goal is to have a natural med-free birth. If I seem to be struggling with controlling the pain, please offer me low-dose pain medications before offering me an epidural. If I choose to have an epidural placed, please allow me the option of a low-dose epidural first to be upped as I need it. I am planning a med-free birth, but I'm realistic, and I remember the pain, and it could have been because of Pitocin, but I remember the horrible, horrible, horrible pain of having Cody. And I'm not saying, never say never, and I don't have an extreme hate for medicine. I just would prefer not to this time. So I am open to, I don't want to say open, but I understand I could choose medicine. I don't want them to be, I don't want, as soon as I start contracting, I don't want them to be like, do you want an epidural? Because like, no, I want to see if I can do this by myself. But I also, I've seen birth plans that were more rough, as far as I know there are pain medications. Don't tell me about them. I'll ask for them if I want them. Like I said, I don't really know how I'll be dealing with things. I don't have a doula, so I'm okay with them suggesting things. Just being aware of what I want. So if they think I'm doing okay, and I seem to be coping through the contractions because I'm singing or jumping up and down or whatever, then let me do that. And if not, then offer me things, but offer me like the lowest form first. You know, if I can get through it with just like a little tiny bit of something in my IV, then that's good for me. I'm okay with that. Anyways, cesarean. My goal is to avoid at all safe costs a repeat cesarean. A cesarean should only be considered if the baby's or my life is in immediate danger. In the case of cesarean, I would like to be part of the decision-making process. Please fully explain the reasoning and why this is the only option for a safe delivery. I just basically want to be informed the whole time. I don't want someone to come in and be like, okay, we're having a C-section, let's go. And honestly, with my first, if that would have happened, I don't know if I would have questioned it. I think I would have just went with it because it was my first and doctors know best and all that. So, if desired, the parent should be given the first choice to come back in the operating room with me. If they are not there or decline, I would like a person of my choosing to accompany me. Please give me Zofran prior to administering the spinal. That was something I learned just from the twins. They had an epidural, or they had a IV in me, and they told me that, well, this is for if we have to give you any other sorts of medicine while you're getting the C-section. And, sorry, horrible angle, but my arm was getting tired. They gave me the spinal, it took forever, and then I was laying down, and I got through the C-section itself okay, if I remember correctly, but as they were like stitching me all back up, I started feeling really queasy. And then they did Zofran through the IV, and it worked pretty quickly, but there was still, it's such an odd feeling to be like laying down on your back, and you can't move too much, obviously, and you feel like you're going to throw up, and it just sort of freaked me out a little bit, because I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to get sick. And this time, I know apparently that spinals seem to make me sick, or the act of having a C-section, I don't know, something like that makes me sick, so just give me Zofran prior to it, and if I didn't need it, then I didn't need it, and if I did, then it's already there, so. And then I said, do not offer tubal ligation. I don't even want to be offered that, like, I'm not done having babies, so. Episiotomy, I'd prefer to tear than to be cut. Unless we are planning a forceps or vacuum extraction, then please administer an episiotomy. If an episiotomy is needed, please numb the area. I have had a episiotomy and a tear with Cody, and it wasn't numb, and it was horrible. They tried to numb it, and for some reason it just wasn't working. My body was like rejecting all forms of help. Like the epidural had wore off, and they were giving me stuff in my IV, and it wasn't helping, and they were giving me stuff. They shot me full of something down there to numb me, and I felt all that. It was ridiculous. So I don't want to feel that again. So yeah. Delivery, I would like to be able to give birth in the position I choose. Please offer me possibilities. Again, the hospital I delivered the twins and Cody at, they did not really offer anything. You birth on your back, because that's how women birth. They birth on their back. And this, I have heard this one's better with like allowing you to birth in different positions as long as everything's fine with baby, laying on your side, having like a stirrup up in the air, or squatting or whatever. And I might not want to. I might want to lay on my back, but maybe squatting feels really great. Maybe that's how I want to birth. So never know. even if I'm found to be at 10 centimeters, I would like to wait until I have the urge to push. So I don't know if it would have helped at all with Cody's birth because I was already so exhausted. I probably would have never wanted to push, but they checked me. I was 10 centimeters with a lip is what they said. And they just said, okay, let's start pushing. And they did practice pushing for a while, and then we went straight into regular pushing, and I was so exhausted, and by the end of it, I couldn't push anymore. And he wasn't coming out, so they did the vacuum, and the vacuum didn't work, so they did the forceps, and that like ripped me open, and he had bruises on his face, and I just feel like everything I've read, everything I've heard, you know when it's time to push. And just because you're 10 centimeters doesn't mean your body's ready. Maybe it takes another few minutes to be ready. Maybe it takes a little bit longer. As long as the baby's safe, I don't mind waiting and going through a few more contractions or whatever. You know, in order to avoid pushing when my body's not ready and making it harder on myself. This is, of course, as long as the baby's on emergency status of stress. As long as I'm effectively pushing, please allow me to do so at my own pace and duration. I didn't want to be told when to push, and I don't want to be given the whole count to 10 push, because they told me I was pushing really good, and that would surprise them because I was a first-time mom, and I guess first-time moms don't push very well. But they told me I was pushing really good, and they told me that it wasn't me that was like failing, let's say, with Cody. The way he was positioned and everything, and his head was so big, he would like crown, and I was pushing great for that, but then as soon as I would let off a push, he would kind of suck back in. And so anyways, if I feel like pushing for longer than 10 seconds, then yay, and if I feel like pushing just for a few little bits or whatever. So please offer compresses or perennial support to allow tissues to stretch on their own. Please allow the parents to have the option of cutting the cord if they decline or are not available. I would like to cut the cord. I didn't cut it with Cody. I had my mom cut it. And the twins, they were C-section, so the doctor cut it, I guess. And then, so in this time, I think I would actually like to cut it. I think it'd be kind of cool. But obviously, I'm not going to take that from the parents. So if the parents want to cut it, then go for it. If I have maintained a natural, non-medicine induced labor delivery until this point, I would like to try to deliver the placenta without the aid of Pitocin. And so I agree to Pitocin if it appears I'm losing too much blood. So what I meant by that was, like I said, I'm planning to go naturally and no pains, and I'm hoping that if I need to use some sort of an induction method, I can use like the pumping and I don't have to do Pitocin. And so if I've made it that far and I've delivered the baby, I don't want to be given, like, I've made it that far without Pitocin, I don't want to be given it again. I don't want to be given to it. I don't want to be given it. I just want to birth the placenta normally. I did have a small postpartum hemorrhage with my son, and that was with Pitocin. But I know that some people I know some hospitals like to do Pitocin to avoid that. That clearly didn't work for me, but if I am losing it, obviously I'll take it, but I'd prefer not to if I have to wait. Because I just remember with Cody, I finally got him out. I was so exhausted. And then they said, okay, let's get the placenta out. And they're just immediately pushing and they were pulling on it. And I just wasn't comfortable. And I'd rather just take a few minutes and breathe for a second and then push the placenta out by myself and be that. And then the last thing for that says, I would like to view the placenta after it's delivered. It's just personal curiosity. I didn't see Cody's because I was so out of it. Didn't see the twins. Theirs was taken right away and had all these things bagged and everything because they were banking their placenta and the cord blood. So I didn't see any of them, and I would kind of like to see it. Postpartum, please offer me cold packs if I have any tears or cuts in my perineum. If available, please offer the parents' room separate from mine to allow them to bond with the baby. Breastfeeding, I will not be feeding the baby directly from the breast. Please provide me a pump to use in order to pump breast milk for the baby for the duration of our stay. I have 2 pumps as of right now, and I had one through insurance, and I bought one, and I have a pump, but I really don't want to bring it to the hospital if I don't need to. I'm pretty sure they have it, so I just want them to know that I want a pump right away. Please, or any other feeding questions should be directed to the parents. Other, please allow the parents, name the parents, access to my labor and delivery at all times. I would like to have one person of my choosing with me at all times. I'm okay with students, interns, and residents being present at my birth. However, I would like the option of choosing what they cannot do to me, IVs, epidurals, episiotomy, etc. I completely understand that they need to learn somewhere, and I actually have no problem with them observing it. If they want to be there in the birth and watch it happen, I don't care. That just doesn't bother me. But I had a really great student anesthesiologist with the C-section. She did, like, it took a little longer. Like, she kept asking the senior anesthesiologist, you know, is this the right, like, vertebrae and stuff, and he would confirm and that sort of thing. But it was great. It worked and no problems. With Cody, my epidural wore off. I don't know if that was user error or just me rejecting epidurals or whatever, but that was another student, and so I had, for the C-section, prior to that, when they were getting my blood, I had a student blood draw, and my blood ended up squirting everywhere, and they were like missing the vein, and it was just, so I just want to be like, yeah, I'm okay with you doing that, or no, please don't. But like I said, I don't care if they're there to watch, and they have to learn somehow too. Either my husband, named, stepfather, named, will be taking care of my 3-year-old son. I would like all of them to be able to come and go in the labor portion of my stay, but not delivery. So I don't want Cody to accidentally walk in while I'm pushing and be traumatized for life. Same thing with my husband and my stepfather. So, but if I'm in there for like 13 hours and we're just kind of going through contractions, I don't mind. There can be a party in there. Everyone bring their friends. And then I would like to be allowed to video and take photos throughout my entire stay. So, I haven't asked this doctor about that. My past OB and my past hospital were totally fine with pictures, videos, whatever you wanted to do. But, I am hoping to set up a camera or 2 recording so I can get like different angles and post an actual video of my birth. I haven't done that for you guys yet. And also, my mom will probably have a camera there, and so she'll be taking pictures, so. Anyways, this is long, sorry, it's probably going to be like 35 minutes or more, but bye.